Chapter 13. The sky bled into gold and tangerine, parang sugat na hindi masakit. Warm, slow, inevitable. The garden was holding its breath, vines tangled like thoughts she didn't want to examine too closely. Alena stood there with garden shears in her hands, humming under her breath. An old Tagalog lullaby. Yaya's voice lived in that melody, the version of her life when everything felt soft, when love didn't come with warnings. She frowned at a stubborn vine, brows knitting together. Of course. Kahit halaman, ayaw magpaawat. She tugged, misjudged the tension. Smack. The vine snapped back and kissed her cheek like it had a grudge. She froze. Then she laughed. Hindi pilit, hindi mahinhin. A real laugh, sharp, surprised, free. Parang matagal na niyang nakalimutan na marunong pa pala siyang tumawa ng ganun. On the veranda, Hawk watched. Hindi siya lumilingon. Hindi siya nagtatago. He stood there like the world had narrowed into one woman laughing at a vine, and his chest tightened in a way that felt dangerous. Her laughter reached him like a bruise you don't notice until you breathe. Alena caught him staring. She straightened slowly, brushing a curl away from her cheek. Ngumiti pa rin. You always stare at me like I'm gonna vanish. His voice came low, honest, walang depensa.
Because sometimes I think you will.
Something stilled inside her. The sun dipped lower, gilding her face in fire, and for a moment, wala nang garden, wala nang sugat, wala nang digmaan sa pagitan nila. Just that sentence. Just the quiet fear wrapped inside it. She looked at him properly this time. Hindi bilang multo ng gabi niya. Hindi bilang lalaking tinakbuhan niya. She stepped forward. Hindi siya tumakbo. Stone by stone along the garden path, she wiped her hands on her skirt, heart thudding. Do you really think I'm that fragile? Half teasing, half asking for truth.
No.
She tilted her head. Then why do you look at me like I might disappear? He exhaled, slow.
Because everything good in my life has.
The words weren't angry. They were small. Parang bata na sanay masaktan bago pa man umasa. Her breath caught. Bakit ganon? Why would a man like him carry words like that? She saw it then. Not the soldier. Not the danger. A boy. Gabriel. The boy from her dreams. The one who cried without sound. The one who hid in closets during thunderstorms, clutching a threadbare bear habang yayanig ang pader sa galit ng ibang tao. That same look lived in Hawk's eyes. And her empath's heart, her cursed, blessed heart, answered before logic could stop it. Hindi siya tumitingin sa lalaking nagkulong sa kanya. She was looking at someone who never stopped bracing for impact. It unraveled her. Her laughter faded, replaced by something softer. Mas delikado. Mas totoo. It used to be easier to be sharp. Galit as armor. Sarcasm as shield. But this quiet understanding, was stripping her bare. That's when she knew. She was falling, and every time Hawk stepped back, every time he treated her like glass instead of fire, she moved closer. Her walls thinning, her resolve weakening. Nakakatakot. It was easier to call him the villain. But under the dying sun, she saw the truth. She had been surrendering all along. You think I'm good? She asked quietly.
You're real. And I don't know how to hold on to something real without breaking it.
She stood one step below him, close enough to feel the ache. So don't hold, she whispered. Just stay still. He nodded, once. The same morning. The sun hadn't fully climbed yet. It slipped through the thin curtains like it was careful not to wake them, laying soft lines across the cabin table. The air still carried traces of dawn, cool, quiet, unfinished. Alena moved slowly, barefoot as if sound itself might break something delicate. That's when she saw it. The book, already there, waiting. A novel she had mentioned only once, in passing. College favorite, unfinished. A thought she never meant to leave behind, much less be remembered. Her fingers paused. There was a note.
You stopped here. Thought you might want to keep going.
His handwriting. Spare, honest. No signature, no explanation. And pressed between the pages, carefully, intentionally, was a dried camellia. The same flower. From the garden, from her laugh, from the moment he looked at her like she might disappear. Her throat tightened. Hindi lang siya nakinig. He remembered. Not just the book, not just the page. Her. She closed it slowly and pressed it to her chest, breathing around the ache. Parang hindi lang papel at tinta ang hawak niya. An apology, a promise, a confession he didn't dare speak out loud. And somehow, in that quiet morning light, she didn't need him to. Every day with Hawk felt like peeling an onion, layer after layer coming undone. Except instead of tears, she got addicted. Addicted to the way he unraveled her, how her heart softened even as her brain screamed, "Teka lang, this is dangerous." There was always that shadow, though. The nightmare. The same one that clawed its way into her sleep like a bad habit her soul couldn't quit. She woke with it still humming under her skin, ribs tight, breath shallow. She exhaled. At least this morning, Hawk didn't ask. He never pushed, never demanded words. He seemed to know. Some wounds needed touch, not questions. The way he had loved her last night said enough. Parang alam ng katawan niya kung saan dapat dumampi para manahimik ang multo sa loob niya. Predator instincts, Saint-Level patience. A lethal combination. He knew when to pry, and when to simply pull her close, kiss her temple, and breathe her back into herself. You're not alone. Hindi niya kailangang sabihin. Her nightmares weren't just dreams. They were echoes. Old, ugly, embedded in bone. Buti na lang may lola siya sa Pilipinas. Her grandmother had always known. One look, one touch, and an understanding deeper than language. And now, somehow, so did Hawk. By morning, she expected the usual. His brooding silence. Coffee shoved toward her like a peace offering. What she did not expect. Hawk! In the kitchen, wearing an apron, cooking. She blinked. Once, twice. Okay. Either she was still dreaming, or the universe had finally decided to mess with her. But there he was, flipping eggs with alarming competence, moving like this was just another battlefield he'd mastered. He looked cheerful, which was suspicious.
Good morning,
He said, voice deep, amused. Before she could comment on this miracle, he kissed her. Not a peck. A real kiss. Slow. Deliberate. The kind that settled into her bones and reminded her exactly what they'd done to each other hours ago. When he pulled back, he didn't let go. Forehead to forehead. Breath mingling. His hands firm on her waist, like gravity itself needed reinforcement. She grabbed his shirt. Anong meron? Bakit ang saya mo? Hawk smirked. Dangerous expression.
You refused.
She blinked. Huh?
The other night, do you remember?
He shook his head softly, like a man still recovering from a religious experience. Oh, right, she remembered. The quiet question in the dark. The almost shy suggestion about doctors and pills. And her very serious refusal. Because honestly, ano ba gagawin niya? Walk into a clinic like a confused nun and ask, "Hi po, paano po ba hindi mabuntis? May holy water po bang kasama?" She had said it out loud. Sincerely. That was when Hawk completely lost it.
Christ, Alena.
He'd laughed, wrecked and helpless.
You'll be the death of me.
She'd muttered something about being raised in a convent and not even knowing where half the parts were supposed to go, which earned her that look.
Don't worry, I'll teach you. Slowly, thoroughly.
Her thighs clenched at the memory. Now, back in the kitchen, she squinted at him, still half in his arms. So, you're happy, because I might... He didn't let her finish. Hawk leaned in, slow, deliberate, like he was approaching something sacred. His mouth brushed hers, not a kiss yet. A warning, a promise.
Hey, look at me.
She did.
Get pregnant with my child?
He said quietly, no bravado this time. Just heat, just certainty. His thumb traced her jaw, then slid lower, resting flat over her lower belly like it already belonged there. That idea doesn't scare me, he continued, voice steady.
If it happened, I'll take care of you. Of both of you.
As he spoke, Alena's hand moved on its own. Her fingers found his wrist first, light and testing, tracing the steady pulse there, as if checking that he meant every word. Then her thumb slipped beneath his sleeve, circling the warm skin of his forearm, grounding herself in the quiet strength of it. She leaned in, forehead brushing his collarbone, breathing him in while he explained her future like it was something he could hold. She didn't interrupt. She listened, with her hands. Hawk felt it. He didn't stop talking, but his free hand lifted, thumb brushing slow, deliberate circles along her spine. A grounding touch. A claiming one. Like he was anchoring her to the present while he spoke about a future neither of them could fully see yet. Mid-sentence, he leaned down and pressed a soft kiss to her hairline. Not urgent. Not hungry. Just there. As if to say I've got you without breaking the rhythm of his words. Her breath hitched. Inside her chest, something twisted. Because loving him was one thing. She shifted closer, fingers curling into the fabric of his shirt at his chest, right over his heart. Feeling the steady beat there calmed her more than his words ever could. Parang sinasabi ng katawan niya, this is real, this is steady. But staying meant consequences. She was the payment for her brother's sins. The unspoken debt. The reason she was here, tethered to a man like Hawk in the first place. Kung may mangyayari, kung may mabuo, she wouldn't just be choosing love. She'd be binding herself to a fate she didn't fully control. Her heart raced, but his hand stayed warm on her belly. Steady, claiming without pressure.
Multiple times.
He added softly, almost smiling against her lips.
I'm not pretending otherwise. We've been reckless.
A ghost of humor flickered in his eyes.
You come apart from me every time.
He said, voice thick, mouth brushing hers between words.
And when you do?
A slow kiss, felt more than heard.
I lose myself right there with you.
His breath warmed her lips, unhurried, intimate.
So, hindi malayong may mabuo.
She swallowed. This wasn't carelessness. This was a gamble, and he knew it. Because control, real control, had already been out of the question for a while now. She felt it every time they came undone together. It was never chaotic, never rushed. Parang may lihim na kasunduan ang katawan nila. Hers tightening, breaking open first, and Hawk. Hawk always followed her there, as if her release was his permission. As if he waited for that exact moment when she lost herself before he let go too. Sometimes it came back as a flash, hot and blinding. His groan breaking on her name, her cry swallowed by his mouth. One breath, one shatter. Then silence. Sabay sila. Always. And in those moments, Hawk forgot everything else. Strategy, restraint, consequence. He wasn't thinking about making her a mother. He wasn't calculating futures or risks. He was only there. With her. Fully. They synced. For someone who had arrived in this world of touch innocent and untrained, Alena was still discovering what making love could be. Not the mechanics, those were obvious, but the after. The quiet that followed the peak. The way her body stayed open and warm, unafraid. The way Hawk didn't rush away from that softness, didn't break the spell. She was learning that pleasure wasn't just the climb. It was the aftermath. The way he kept her close when the shaking faded. The way their breaths slowed together. How, in that space, she felt something settle between them that words couldn't name. He murmured it against her skin, voice rough with aftermath as his arm tightened around her waist, pulling her fully into his chest.
Stay right here,
he said softly, mouth brushing her hair, his palm sliding slow and protective along her back.
I've got you. I'll take care of you.
Parang dun lang niya tunay na nararamdaman na silang dalawa ay kanila na ang isa't isa. Not owned, chosen, held. And that, more than anything, was why she felt safest with him. Because every time she reached for him, he answered. With touch, with timing, with restraint that never felt like distance. Safety, she realized, wasn't silence. It was being met, exactly where she was. Because in that shared moment, he didn't rush past her. He waited. He listened with his body. He followed her lead like her breath was the only metronome that mattered. For someone whose nights were ruled by loss of control, that attunement was everything. Her heart could race. Her body could finally trust that it wouldn't be left behind. And that was why the risk felt honest. Hawk leaned in and kissed her, slow, deep, grounding. Not hunger, not possession, assurance. His mouth lingered like he was sealing a vow she hadn't asked him to make. When he pulled back, his forehead rested against hers.
You didn't make the wrong choice,
he said quietly.
Staying, not taking pills, letting it be what it is.
His thumb pressed gently, deliberately against her lower belly again. A promise written in touch.
If there's a child,
he murmured, kissing her temple, then her cheek, then her mouth, each kiss slower, surer.
That child will never be a burden, and neither will you.
Her heart pounded hard, but her body stayed calm. For the first time, the idea didn't feel like a trap. It felt like something he would stand in front of.
I don't want you afraid,
he whispered.
Not of me, not of what we might make.
And just like that, her fear loosened its grip. She covered her face. He laughed against her neck.
Eat,
he murmured.
Before I forget, we're pretending to be civilized.
She looked down. Eggs, toast, sinangag. Her eyes widened. You cooked Filipino fried rice? He shrugged.
I learned fast.
Diyos ko, she whispered. What did I do to you? He just smiled. And for the first time, Alena wondered, was she even resisting anymore? Getting dressed felt like preparing for battle. Floral dress, heart sneakers, Dior on her wrists. He liked that scent. She knew because the man sniffed her like a bloodhound with attachment issues. When she came down the stairs, Hawk dropped the book he was holding. Dropped it. Because of her. Oh, he was down bad. His violet eyes locked on her, and her IQ dipped instantly.
Let's go.
He kissed her sweetly. Too sweet. Suspicious. And then, he drove them into the woods. She stared at the trail. Seriously? He just smiled. She complained. He kissed her. She complained again. Another kiss. By the third time, she shut up. Strategic surrender. He lifted her easily, one arm under her thighs, the other firm around her back like she weighed nothing at all. Her breath hitched.
Malayo pa,
he said, amused. She wrapped an arm around his neck, more for pleasure than balance. Alam mo, kung gusto mo lang akong buhatin, pwede ka namang magsabi. He snorted softly.
You complain too much.
Excuse me, she said, fingers sliding into his hair, slow, deliberate. I'm being cooperative. She leaned closer, lips brushing his jaw as if by accident. Besides, parang nag-i-enjoy ka naman. His grip tightened, just a fraction.
Careful, you're playing with fire.
She smiled against his skin. Funny. I was about to say the same thing. She traced lazy circles on his collarbone, felt the way his breathing shifted. Satisfied, she whispered, Hindi ba mabigat? He huffed a laugh.
You?
She tilted her head, eyes bright. Your problem. That did it. His jaw clenched, smile sharp and dangerous.
You're enjoying this.
Maybe, she said sweetly. Or maybe I just like it when you carry me like I belong there. His steps slowed.
Alena.
She kissed the corner of his mouth, quick and teasing. Relax, I'm behaving. That was a lie. She unbuttoned the top of his polo and kissed his chest. For half a second. Just half. Hawk stopped. Actually stopped. His breath hitched. His grip faltered, not enough to drop her, but enough that she felt it. Power wavering, control blinking. He leaned in, mouth brushing her ear, voice dropping into something dark and absolute.
Don't,
he whispered, not angry, controlled, dangerous. He sucked in a breath.
Damn it, Alena. If you don't stop, I'll take you right here.
His jaw tightened as if it cost him something to say that.
Hard boundary.
He added quieter.
Trail stays innocent. You don't.
Her breath stuttered. That wasn't a warning. As he held that line, his mouth brushed her temple, then her cheek, gentle, reverent kisses that grounded her even as her pulse raced. That was restraint.
Alena,
he said again, rougher now, barely holding the line. She smiled, soft and wicked. Sorry, Nadulas. He let out a low curse under his breath, forehead dipping briefly to her shoulder like he needed one heartbeat to regroup. Then, just as fast, he recovered. His arms locked back in place, solid as steel, steps resuming like nothing had happened. But his voice gave him away when he murmured near her ear.
You keep that up. We're not reaching the view.
She laughed quietly, satisfied.
Worth it,
he repeated, quieter this time, more dangerous. When they reached the plateau, the view stole her breath. Mountains, waterfall, fire-colored trees. Unreal.
Do you like it?
He asked. She couldn't speak. He kissed her palm. And that was it. She was doomed. Happily, stupidly, irreversibly doomed.